All right. What's good, gamers? What's good? My name is Dr. Ryan Terrell Psych Sensei. Ooh, my hair's looking kind of crazy right now. Maybe I should button up one more button too. Or maybe not. What's good? What's good? Well, this is probably one of the let me pause real fast. Let me pause. Let me fix my hair. All right. All right. The hair is fixed. We're back in business, baby. Dobby, you want to come and be therapy dog? Okay, come here. Ugh. Stream dog. We got it all. All right. Well, what's good, gamers? What's good? My name is Dr. Ryan Sykes Sensei. I'm your clinical esports psychologist. I'm super stoked to be with you for a little bit today. Short stream, but I definitely want to make sure that I was able to do it for a little bit, get something to edit, or get some cool, fun facts out there for everyone to read and help themselves hopefully be better at gaming and stuff like that. If you want to learn more about me, please visit my website, psychsensei.com, or follow me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of it at psychsensei.com. All right, friends. Well, let's just jump into it. Okay, Dobby says, I don't want to be therapy dog anymore. Okay. So today we are continuing the discussion on how touching grass actually helps. Controversial, I know, but let's get into it. I think I left off where I stopped highlighting, so we're going to go from right here. A limitation of correlational studies is that causal relationships cannot be established, nor do they enable a clear understanding of the factors that influence beneficial effects of nature on cognitive function. All right, also, I'm going to be eating lunch here. So, brought to you by Greek yogurt and protein. So, I'm hungry. This is going to happen, whether you like it or not. Because if I don't eat now, I'm going to be upset later. All right. Cool. Examine some of these influential factors for enhancing cognitive functioning in learning environments and identified improved self-discipline, heightened motivation, enjoyment and engagement, as well as increased physical activity and fitness. They also noted some indirect effects of nature on learners, such as the calm, quiet, and safe context often associated with nature, which then facilitate warmer and cooperative social interactions and self-directive creative play. I think it's really interesting. I mean, coming from Hawaii, where nature's all around you, you know? And I do think when people are further removed from nature or whatever, like, there is something different and off, you know? They also propose the notion of a synergistic effect of the numerous processes underlying the nature-nurture core connection. For example, nature can simultaneously increase concentration, engagement, and self-discipline to enhance learning. What? Okay, nature is good. It seems like all the animal things are good. Nature is good. Going out and, like, breathing and getting away from your house is good. OP, even, maybe. Although Ku et al. Provide empirical support for each of these processes, they note concerns relating to the poor quality studies and overgeneralization of results in this field. Okay, fair. Fair. You got to be careful, I guess, with the overgeneralization. The interest of this systemic review lies in the population of school children, and since this group spans a long time period, it is important to examine how nature affects children at all stages of development. Neighborhood greenness can play an important role in cognitive development, starting from very early stages of life and continuing through to later stages of childhood. I'm going to try. Davand et al. Reported long-term exposure to greenness early in child development to be associated with beneficial structural changes in the brain. Lau et al. Observed that exposure to neighborhood green space is associated with better early childhood neurodevelopment for those up to 2 years in age, including prenatals. Mason et al. Examined the impact of short-term, from 10 to 90 minutes, passive nature exposure on cognitive functioning in primary, secondary, and tertiary students. They found that 12 out of 14 studies reported restorative effects of green space for attention and working memory for all education sectors. Yo, honestly, so in conclusion, if this works for children, why would it not work for adults? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're finding that green spaces helps working memory, attention, just for people, I'm thinking another thing it probably helps out on is like just getting out and like looking for further distances than just your screen, right? That's just an automatic benefit, you changing the focal length of what you're looking at and what you're attending on or attending to. Also, my guess is like when you go outside, like things seem smaller and not as serious. You know, like your world of like esports and gaming is super serious. Not saying it's not, but what I'm saying is once you change your perspective of what is important to you or what you think about or other things outside, it's different. Change your perspective, change your life, man. The author, oopsies. The author suggests that different mechanisms may be involved in long-term nature exposures, and hence this distinction warrants further investigation. Some researchers have examined age differences in the relationship between green space and cognitive functioning. For example, Lee et al. Included 6 to 18-year-old children in their study and found that both the younger and older groups showed inverse relationships with greenness and attention problems, indicating that nature may benefit children throughout their development. Yeah, I'm guessing that's why you really want to have children with ADHD go to PE. Or like go run outside, you know? A, probably to like better regulate themselves. B, probably to like get the energy out. And C, probably the relationship with greenness and being outside helps too. And this is not just for like children. It's like 18-year-olds, so young adults also. In a longitudinal study, Rubin et al. Observed association between green space exposure and cognitive performance across all ages. Children were assessed on fluid and crystallized intelligence performances at 5, 12, and 18. After adjusting for socioeconomic status, that's so interesting, adjusting for socioeconomic status, which means that is more important than green space. Because I guess if you can't eat, it doesn't matter if you have green space or not, because you're hungry. Green space exposure predicted longitudinal benefits for fluid cognitive ability among 5-year-old children. These findings add to the body of research on the importance of nature in early brain development. I really wonder too, like, does that mean though, if you don't get it, like when you're young, are you screwed? I really hope not, but that is a question. That is something I am wondering. Damn, Greek yogurt is thick. All right. Experimental studies with children are emerging, but these generally have weak study designs, include short-term nature exposure, or focus on specific samples. For example, within a sample study comprises 17 students aged 7 to 12 years diagnosed with ADHD. This is what I want. Each student completed 3 walks 1 week apart and in random order. 1 walk was in the city park and other 2 walks were in well-kept urban locations, downtown and neighborhood. Performance on a Digispan backwards task was found to be better after the park walk relative to urban walks. These results are promising, but the extent to which these findings apply to general student populations is unknown. That's interesting. So even walking in nature versus walking outside in the city seem to be better for you to clear your mind. I wonder if that's just OP tech. I wonder also if that's like better than not walking, and I'm probably yes, because walking in general probably really helps. But I'm just really wondering, like, if you're walking in an urban area, are you screwed still? My guess is no, because you're still moving your body. But it does seem like walking in nature is definitely more OP. Okay. Okay. More recently, reviews on meta-analysis on the effects of nature on desired psychological and health outcomes have been published and include mostly randomized controlled trials and general samples, including those with samples of children and adolescents. Robert et al., for example, a systematic review by Vanaken and Dan Carrera included 21 students examining the impact of green space on children and adolescents' mental health. They concluded that the evidence is consistent in demonstrating the favorable influence on exposure on green space or exposure to green space on emotional and behavioral issues such as inattention and hyperactivity. Huh. That's like everything in gaming. Inattention and hyperactivity. A mini review of nature connection interventions for children was also published with the aim of identifying themes and trends. The authors also noted poor study quality, and they proposed guidelines for future work to strengthen the quality of evidence collected by researchers. Conducted. Some age differences in level of nature connection have been reported between younger children, 10 and 12 years, compared to adolescents, 13 to 15 years, with younger age groups reporting higher levels. Makes sense? It's really interesting. Now that I'm thinking about it, just like the concept of play and where you play outside. Like, it seems that, like, what's really helpful for children in general is to, like, play outside in nature versus like playing inside on the computer or whatever. So I'm not saying that games for children are bad. I think it's just in general that it might be really important to balance playing games inside with going outside touching grass, because it seems like at the end of the day, listen, we're animals, bro. We were born for nature, to do things in nature, to move our bodies. So it's important, it seems, to incorporate some of these animalistic things that we need, like going outside, moving our bodies, seeing nature, taking a walk in nature, to be beneficial for us, not just something we have to do. Because I think from a different perspective, we're also going against our biologies by staying in like fluorescent lit rooms all day in a seated position without moving, you know? So how can we incorporate more moving or more nature stuff in our lives to better balance ourselves? And the crazy part is that's according to research, bro. However, no firm conclusions can be drawn as work examining nature exposure and cognitive outcome with children is scarce. Most research is needed to collate the findings from well-designed experimental studies to better understand the effects of nature on children, and adolescents, cognitive capacities in school settings, and their underlying mechanisms. The main purpose of this, so basically they're saying they need more data. Fair. Don't we all need more data? The main purpose of this review is to examine evidence of a causal relationship of nature exposure on cognitive functioning for the population of school children and adolescents in a variety of settings. Specifically, we review studies of diverse time exposures from a few minutes to months and years to capture any short-term benefits for attentional processes, as well as those for long-term benefits like academic performance. Okay, what is really important? Attentional processes. What's even more important if you want to play in school? Academic performance. Or, if gaming applies somewhere else, or how can you leverage it? Academic performance. Let's go. Therefore, our definition of nature exposure was intentionally broad and could include activities where nature plays a background role, like passive viewing of the natural environment while sitting in a classroom or walking in a park. It might include activities where nature plays an active role, like in an outdoor gardening session. Okay. Okay, more specifically, this review will, 1, systematically evaluate the recent body of experimental and quasi-experimental studies examining the effects of nature, green space on cognitive functioning in children and adolescents. Number 2, investigate the underlying processes involved in possible effects of nature on cognitive performance, as well as consider the adequacy of different theoretical models to explain any effects. And 3, examine whether effects of nature exposure differ according to age. We will explore the duration and type of nature intervention to determine whether these interventions' characteristics influence outcomes. Sick. Okay. I bet you this looked like this reviewed a bunch of articles. They looked at keywords. Cool. Yo, Dr. Jeeves, what's good, baby? We're still looking at that article at Green Spaces. I hope you're doing well and eating yogurt. No Coachella for you, baby? No Cella for you? I know. No Cella for me. Okay. I'm doing great with no yogurt. Let me tell you. I hate this trying to be healthy thing. It's rough. I went out for a run today. Ugh. And I did it in nature, though. So you know I'm not tilted. Okay. Let's just go down to results, because it basically just read a bunch of stuff. That's what they did. Okay. Okay. Dude, big event happened in the AIM scene yesterday. You heard about it? No. Tell me all about it, brother. Tell me all about it. And were you the big news in the AIM scene? Was that you? Okay. Effectiveness of nature interventions. Studies included. Hey, why can you not? I literally put on the chat. Hold on. Chat box. Is it because it's in the back? Let's put it in the front. What the heck? Why can I see my chat? Okay, well, chat is supposed to be there. Okay, well, maybe when chat we put up there, it's gonna come up. Hopefully. Okay. All right. Studies included in this review enabled us to investigate nature interventions on cognitive functioning across different attentional domains, as well as on long-term memory knowledge acquisition. First, we will present the findings from the attentional test in 4 sections: working memory test, selective attention test, also including tests with various degree of sustained selective attention test, processing speed, and impulse control tests. Wow, so it actually went like legitimately, these things. I like it. Working memory, selective attention, impulse control, processing speed. Nah, I was not involved, lol. A cracked aimer, Anzue, was previously falsely banned from AIM Lads, then unbanned, went to Kovacs, and then got banned there too. He was banned for 3+ months, and he got with Lucan, Maddie, Ness, and some other top aimers to prove he's legit. He lives in the same country as Lucan, so he went to Hit House and played on his setup. Whoa. Okay, did he actually get unbanned? Was the game's like, bro, you're too cracked. There's no way, you must be cheating. And he's like, nah, dog, I'm not cheating. And he went to someone else's setup and like broke it. That would be actually pretty sick, dude. Not gonna lie, that'd be legitness. Dude was breaking Lucan scores on his setup. Bro, that's awesome. Wrongly accused and then freed. That's so great. You don't think he's unbanned yet, bro? That's gotta be some head scratchers. Like, wait a minute. How's this cat so good? We banned him. He went on somebody else's stream / setup and just broke it again. Oh, he's undeniable that he's legit, dude. Oh, you know what'd be even funnier? It comes out that his friends are also using like aim assisters. He's not broken. They're all just freaking juiced up to the gills using cheats. Wow, though. But what an exoneration feeling, right? I was just too cracked. I've been telling you guys I'm too cracked. No one believe me. That's awesome, though. Shout out to that guy. What a feeling. All right. Attentional test. W gamer moment. Hell yeah, dude. Can you imagine? That's like reverse Tokyo Girl. Okay. Most studies in our review applied short-term nature exposures to find possible causal effects on attentional processing. These studies were more consistently able to report attentional processing benefits than studies that use long-term nature exposures in their designs. Okay, so short-term. conclusion. Short term. Okay. All right. Fair. I mean, listen. I'm thinking, yeah, that makes sense to me. Because the thing I'm thinking about is like, it's probably better to use nature as in short breaks to kind of detail or center yourself. I'm thinking there probably is longer term effects if you just keep doing this as part of your routine, but none recorded. But short term, hey, that works. All right, working memory. 2 studies found a significant positive effect on nature on working memory performance in middle-class public schools children in Rome, and in both urban and rural high school students in Central Illinois public schools. Take that to the bank. Central Illinois, shout out, respectively. Both studies used digit span forward and digit span backwards, but the tasks differed on whether participants were to write the digits down or to repeat them verbally. The Rome study used 30-minute active play in a green school playground, while the Illinois study used a window view on greenscape landscape with 2 examiners in the room where participants were seated and resting for 10 minutes. That's so funny. In Rome, they're like, go outside, kids, go play. And then the US are like, just look at that window. That's all you get. Just look at the window. Just look. Okay, that's 10 minutes. You're done looking. Oh, that's so funny. That's kind of like when you want bombless mimosas and they just like do this with the orange juice just to your champagne. It's kind of what it feels like. All right, that's so funny. That is a big difference. But here's the thing. The thing is, even if they got to play outside or just look out the window, it helps. 30 minutes active play in Rome, Illinois. Window view. Just look at the window. Just look. Don't talk. Just look. These studies indicated that relative to control conditions, 2 different nature interventions, one immersive and one passive, involving different age groups can improve cognitive performance that relies on the ability to hold and manipulate information in short-term working memory. So, why that's crazy to me is like, okay, literally going outside after you play for 30 minutes. So take a walk for 30 minutes, go literally play. Or literally just look out the window for 10 minutes. If you look out the window for 10 minutes, you will show, or these kids showed, so why wouldn't you be better to game? That you will have better control conditions. Yeah. You can improve your cognitive performance that relies on holding and manipulating information in your short-term memory. Pretty good. Just looking outside. You don't even need to get up. Or you can get up. My suggestion would be getting up, but if you just want to look out the window, 10 minutes, improve your working memory. Whoa, crazy. Okay. All right, selective attention and sustained selective attention. The common task in test design to measure selective attention is to direct attention controls towards a target while simultaneously ignoring distractors. So basically that's attending to something while not attending to something else. That's all they're saying. That's kind of like if you want to put in like real life like terms, it's kind of like when you are washing the dishes and you're playing Rick and Morty on the background and you're not really watching Rick and Morty, you're listening to it, but you can still kind of attend to it, or not attend to it and wash the dishes like that. Okay, most studies in our systematic review have been designed to measure selective attention. However, they have used 5 different tests for this purpose. In particular, combined attention systems test, the CAST, and attention network test, ANT. Dude, psychologists love acronyms, bro. I tell you, we love acronyms. Are similar measured based on the fish tanker test, where the target fish is presented facing left or right and flanked by another fish pointing in congruent or incongruent directions as a cue or distractor. The task requires respondents to indicate the correct direction of the target fish. Other tests, like the Necker test, also used as measures of selective attention, but are notably dependent on visual processing. Likewise, the Sky Search test, or D2R, I think they messed up these letters. They should be R2D2. Come on, for the gram, just for the lulz. Also rely on visual resources to sustain attention. However, caution is required when explaining the causal effect of nature on selective attention, as visual processing can be a confounding factor. So what they're saying is like people's viewing attention could be the whole thing they're messing up on. All right, 2 studies using similar computer attention tests based on the fish flanker test reported a significant positive effect on selective attention performance after a 30-minute walk in nature, environment, and trees. Positive effect on selective attention performance after a 30-minute walk in nature, environment, with trees. So that means when they did the walk, their thing also went up positively. Walk, good. Help memory. Johnson et al. Found a small positive effect with Canadian children of mixed age between 8 to 15 years old after walking through a forested trail in Sherby Park. I think it's just Sherby Park. That probably is the key. Stevenson et al. Found a positive effect for speed and stability of responses in children aged 10 to 14 years recruited from an independent school in Denmark after walking through rolling grass fields with young pine trees and rocks, farmland, and forest. However, no improvement in executive attention was found in the study. Interesting. Okay, not executive attention, but selective attention. Good. $30 minutes. 30 minutes. Where's that? Speed and stability responses. I really wonder if it's the duration of the thing that you're doing too. Like 30 minutes? That's a good duration of time. You know what else is a good time? Yogurt. I'm really trying to gas up this yogurt. It tastes like nothing. It tastes like nothing in chia seeds. Even the strawberries are sour. Is this what health tastes like? You know? I really wish health tasted better. Ugh. Alright. 2 studies found natural environments designed as structured green playtime and free play in a school garden, respectively, exert a significant positive effect on attention control as measured by the Bell test in primary school. In primary public school middle class children in Rome. Woo! The Bell test contains 4 different sheets with small black drawings of different symbols, and the test requires respondents to mark all 35 bells embedded within 280 different distracting symbols. The test is relevant to select attention control, but also requires visual scanning. Greenwood and Gardersbin also found a positive significant effect on selective attention for high school students in southwest London after spending time in the school grassed area with trees, shrubs, and flowers for 20 minutes. I wonder if they're also flirting. They used Necker cube pattern control task to measure attention control. So after being outside, they're able to like scan and like select correctly these things, or scan and find things in their environment. I wonder also if it's like the reason why they're better able to do that is by literally changing what they're focusing on, like giving themselves a break, looking at different things, and then coming back to the task versus like being stimulated on the computer for like X amount of time and then trying to do that search task. I think probably the break helps. But it is really interesting that the break in conjunction with the location and nature helps you control your attention or recover or improve your working memory in general. It is like interesting how the nature piece actually does work, you know what I mean? So in conclusion, from this article, what I'm hearing is touching grass is actually like super OP. Okay. Now, this one's for you, my friends with ADHD, like me truly. Impulse control. Impulse control. One study used an impulse control attention test as measured by go/no-go task to investigate impulse control after green structured play. They found no significant positive effect in middle-class public school children in Rome after playtime in a school garden compared with a built playground. Oh, interesting. No effect. No effect. Okay. Regarding sustained selective attention, 4 studies reported mixed findings derived from D2R, letter cancellation task, and Sky Search attention task. These tests are used to measure selective attention, but at the same time, they required sustained attention for performance. Each test, respectively, presents rows of similar pictures or letters for the participants to visually scan to spot differences. Nature designed as the living plants classroom wall has been found to have a significantly positive effect on sustained selective attention as measured by the Sky task in Dutch primary school children. Okay. Nature. That's interesting. Nature designed as the living plants classroom wall. So what's interesting there is, like, it's not even just going outside, but even if you introduce plants into your environment, they're more helpful for you. Interesting. So get a ficus. That's what I'm hearing. However, the same attention test used in a longitudinal study by for a similar population in the Netherlands did not yield significant results until after 2 years of green schoolyard exposure at the second follow-up, reporting only a positive trend at the first follow-up. That's funny. If I have a cat, is that close enough to nature? I have to do that research next. They haven't designed or designated animals as nature. Right now, they're just designating, like, plants and rocks and shit as, like, nature. But, I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't be nature if you play with your cat. But would you play with your cat for like 30 minutes? I think that's like the magic number. Like 30 minutes outside. Okay, similar to long-term studies, sustained selective attention, as measured by D2R, letter cancellation, was not found to be consistent and positively influenced by short-term nature exposure, indicating that perhaps this cognitive domain may not necessarily benefit from exposure to green space, irrespective of the duration of exposure. Oh man. Boo. Okay, so it seems like impulse control, not really helped by nature. That's fine, though. I mean, I'll take 1 out of 4 or 3 out of 4, you know? But here's the thing. I wonder if in general, even though nature may not, like, help, quote-unquote, impulse control, I really wonder if just taking the break in general would help impulse control, you know? Like, if just going out in nature, chilling for a little bit, changing what you're focused on helps. But just nature itself helping impulse control, this study found, nah. Okay, one study reported a significant positive effect after a 60-minute break in a green park or forest relative to a small urban park in high school students in Vienna, but no effect was found in younger, affluent Danish children 10 to 12 years old after being exposed to a grassy area with trees compared to a classroom environment while reading quietly for 60 minutes. But I feel like that's not a break. I feel like they're like doing stuff in nature, like actively using their brain in nature. So it might be a little bit different. Question mark? Okay. Processing speed. Okay, so impulse control, no effect. That is a crayon. Boo. No effect. Okay, processing speed. Mixed findings have been reported for long-term nature exposure. Mixed findings have also been reported for long-term nature exposure studies examining processing speed as measured by the digit letter substitution task. For the task, participants were instructed to convert randomly ordered digits to letters according to a key and to do so within short periods of time. Dude, these tests are kind of like hard if you've ever taken these tests. They're fun, but they are tiring. Okay, no significant positive effect was found, unlucky, on processing speed in the living plants classroom wall exposure study in Dutch primary school children. However, a significant positive effect was reported in the greening of school study in Dutch school children aged 7 to 11 years. Again, these findings may reflect true inconsistency of nature exposure on processing speed or the difficulty in establishing causal effect for long-term exposure studies. I'm gonna go with no effect, question mark. No to little effect in processing speed. It looks like working memory and attention seems to be the jam. 30 min outside or 10 mins chest looking. Equal good. All right. So, little to no effect. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. I think we might have to skedaddle. We are late today. But you know what? We are running out of time to stream and stuff. This might be my last week streaming for a little bit, to be honest. I'm going to try to sneak away, but I'm going to go on paternity leave next week. So I have a whole new game to play, which might be stressing me out, but it'll be a fun game. It'll be a fun game. All right. The only two studies, okay, long-term memory knowledge acquisition. Only two studies in a review applied long-term nature exposures to finding possible causal effects on long-term knowledge acquisition. They were inconsistent in their ability to produce favorable outcomes. Question mark here. Wells et al. Found school gardens to be beneficial for enhancing science knowledge as compared to classes with no garden intervention in American children aged 6 to 12 years from low-income rural, suburban, and urban schools. In addition to the knowledge of plant science and nutritional science tests, they also measured the degree of intervention fidelity, which provided dose-based data to further support the findings. Accordingly, classes that reported the greatest increase in their science knowledge by 0.78 on average were the ones receiving higher doses of garden intervention. Okay, I'm going to write this. Outside don't hurt. I'm going on some daily walks ever since you first mentioned touching grass benefits. Can't say it's improved performance drastically, but my overall well-being has definitely improved. Just 15 minutes a day usually. Yeah, man. I mean, according to science, it may not help memory and processing speed, but it definitely helps attention. Oh, sorry. It may not help impulse control, processing speed, or long-term memory knowledge acquisition, but it will help you for sure in attention control and working memory, which is good. We want these things. It's crazy. And hey, that's not me saying this, Dr. Jeeves. This is science saying this, baby. Okay. Okay. Van Grestam and Blom compared outdoor with indoor learning in an urban and high school environment with a traditional curriculum. They measured long-term knowledge acquisition as an essay-type question exam, examining the biology course content, and further assessed the academic knowledge by a semi-structured interview. They found greater long-term knowledge retention for outdoor compared to indoor classes for 7th graders. However, no significant effects of nature were found for 8th graders. Additionally, interview data analysis revealed that overall intervention participants reported more vivid descriptions of classroom activities, which were interpreted as coming from higher positive emotional involvement. I guess that'd be interesting to see if like you actually played outside and if playing with your PC outside actually affected your performance. I don't know. But going outside doesn't hurt. Okay, I think... Damn, this is actually a really long study. Okay, I think this is where I'll call it. Alright, so from the study, from what I got though, it seems like long-term memory... That's actually kind of surprising. I thought going outside and touching grass and like walking would help with the acquisition or the consolidation of learning and stuff like that, but I guess it didn't. The other thing I thought... I was actually kind of surprised by impulse control and processing speed too. Selective attention helps with selective attention. I really thought, you know, well, when I'm thinking about it now, right? I'm thinking that well, first of all, my impression is I'm kind of surprised. I thought in general going outside and taking a break would really, really help you. But it's really interesting. This is children, though. Like, this is children, but I'm applying it to adults because why not? I'm really interested in, like, how them going outside didn't, in fact, help everything. I thought it would help attention because you're giving yourself a break. That makes sense. I thought it would help consolidate working memory with just learning in general, but more so with the memory, but not so much with the understanding, which is really, really interesting. I also thought it was really interesting that it didn't have any effect on impulse control because I thought that would help with fatigue so you can make more decisions or keep your impulses at bay, but it didn't, which is really interesting. I thought with resting, it also improved processing speed, but it didn't, you know? But in general, this study concludes that going outside helps. You know, it may not help in the long term, but even if it's in the short term to help you like get recentered or detilted or just recoup and recover. I think it's really interesting that going out in nature seems to have more benefits than just going outside in urban areas. Unlucky if you live in an urban area. At the same time, what the study is saying is that like, even if you got some houseplants, that helps. Or even just looking outside helps. You know, it'd be really interesting, like Jeeves is saying, like, do animals help? You know, well, maybe animals help you get outside. Maybe you can walk your cat. Nah, I don't know. Or maybe you can, like, walk your dog to go outside. I'm thinking that definitely does help. I really think it's interesting, though, at the end of the day, that we are just animals, bro. And it is beneficial that we go outside and, like, do animal things other than sitting down and being animals in our game. Because I don't think we're designed to sit at our computers in a static position for more than 30 minutes, an hour. You know, it's unnatural for us humans to be locked in an office all day, and I think that's why people feel unhappy oftentimes when they just are in the office. So if there's ways and times that you can get up and touch grass or get out, get some vitamin D. I know I'm deficient of it right now, so that's kind of sad. Gotta take supplements, but going outside, getting some energy out, looking at things, changing your perspective, maybe thinking about things in different ways, or maybe just giving your brain a rest, you know, might be helpful for you and your performance. Yeah, go be a human. That is the conclusion from today's discussion. Or is it go be a human, or like go be an animal? Go be an animal outside. Cats don't walk. Tried, and they just lay on the concrete. Just drag them then. Drag your cat. Drag your cat outside. All right, well, thanks for hanging out with me today. I know it's a shorter stream, but I really want to try to be consistent, especially in this last week. Friday, I may not be streaming, so I may stream on Thursday instead, but maybe you'll get a double dose, because I definitely want to get in some gaming before my little game starts. All right, friends. Well, I hope you have a good Monday. Hope you are chill. Hope you have fun. Thanks for dropping by, Dr. Jeeps, and always talking. Love the conversation, as always. If you want to learn more about me, please visit my website, psychsensei.com, or follow me on the TikToks, the Twitters, YouTube, at the Psych Sensei or Psych Sensei. Dude, there was a study I read recently about taking high doses of vitamin D, greatly improving muscle building. Yeah, man. I've been reading about vitamin D, and it's good. Take it. Go outside. Eat it. All right, friends. Love ya. Take it easy. Bye. And remember, strong mental wins. Pieces, friends. Bye. Oop, 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 oop.